This is Dixie, and she has a very common problem, which is leash aggression, or she did have leash aggression, particularly with excited dogs, small dogs. A lot of times the owner was saying it was a small dog that'll get her going. And I've seen it with large dogs too. Will get her,
Awesome.
more interested. It's a lot of visual stimulation, but it isn't just, it isn't just that simple. It isn't about just telling the dog, not to respond to these excited dogs or the small dogs. You have to change the way that you deal. We're at the dog run, by the way. We're not in the dog run. We're outside the dog run. Never go in that place. It's a terrible place to take a dog. You train your dog to be a fighter going in there. But we're working outside the dog run. And it really is one of those things, if you have a leash aggression, a dog that's leash aggressive, you have to change the way that you deal with the dog. You can't have the dog in the bed, and that's one thing that this owner was doing, was letting the dog sleep in the bed, and that screws up the status of the dog, and it makes you look like a possession. And then the dog's responding like it owns you, essentially. Like, get away from my human here.
Good.
So she's not responding to any dogs. This is just a fraction of the dogs that we saw. And there was only one dog the whole afternoon that she responded negatively to, and that was when we were in a pet store, and the dog, went ape shit, and she, responded negatively. But it was just for a fraction of a second. I told the dog, no, we don't do that. So, right now, I just have her outside a dog run because it's the best place. It's the easiest place to find dogs, and tell this dog that we do not function this way. I've already worked with the dog, full disclosure. I work with the dog in the park by my house, and today we're just going around to different dog parks and sitting outside of them and walking her by small dogs and making sure if I see any little tinge of that she's getting super excited, I'm telling her no. And there's a little bit of leash flexing going on, and it is really one of those things that, like, if you want your dog not to be leash aggressive, it's more than just training obedience commands. You have to be different with the dog when it comes back from a board and train. By the way, if you're dealing with one of these pack trainers, one of these Cesar Millan pack trainers, somebody that learned training from Cesar Millan, if they're showing you pictures of the dog being calm, while they're at the board and train, it's because it's surrounded by a bunch of other dogs. When it comes home, it's going to be just as fucked up. Your dog isn't learning anything. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, and all dogs function that way. If you have a dog that's leash aggressive, and you put it in a manicured pack, of course, it's like the guy going to jail. You go to jail, and you're surrounded by a bunch of other guys that are going to beat the shit out of you. Yeah, you better get in the back of the line. Do you understand? So as soon as that guy comes out of jail, the guy or the dog is going to be just as fucked up, and nothing will have changed. You have to condition all obedience commands in the dog to get rid of leash aggression like this. And you have to change the things that you do. You can't give your dog table scraps.
No, sit.
You can't have your dog in the bed. Here, look at this. Here's a small dog. We're in PS9, New York City's #1 pet store. And, here's this little dog just kind of acting up, and the owner just is letting the dog do whatever it wants in the store. Look at it, look. She doesn't even notice that the dog is way in our way. We can't even walk by. That's another thing. If you see a dog that's so fucked up coming towards you on a harness, and it's responding negatively, walk in the other direction. That's telling the dog you don't want it to fuck with the dog. Come on, we're going this way. So remember, you're the leader. Be responsible. If you see a dog that is just totally nuts and totally untrained and on a flexi lead and a harness, what do you expect the dog to do? But like I said, out of, all the dogs that we saw, we probably saw 100 dogs in an afternoon. This is no shit. 100 different dogs in an afternoon. She only responded negatively for a fraction of a second with one of them. So see, all dogs can learn this, but you have to be vigilant, and you have to be consistent, and you have to make sure the dog knows, you're in charge. You can't have the dog on the bed, and you can't give the dog people food.